Okay, good morning, afternoon, or evening, everybody, depending on your time region. Thank you very much for being with us today for a very special webinar and concluding the session in our ELM version 7 topic of the Supercharging Engineering series, brought to you from Persistent Systems. I'm Carmel Kai, and I'm very excited to have two esteemed guests join me today for a different format to our usual webinars. We have Sky Matthews from IBM joining, who is the IBM CTO of the ELM solution and a distinguished engineer who has replaced Dibby Edwards, who had to drop out due to unforeseen circumstances, and she passes on her apologies. But either way, with Sky, someone very heavily involved with the ELM solution, and we're delighted to have you join us today, so thank you for being with us. Furthermore, we also have Jiani Zhang, the General Manager for the Industrial and Alliances Unit from Persistent Systems. Again, Jiani, thank you for your time. I know you're both very busy, and I'm sure the audience is looking forward to the content of today's webinar. We'll be having a conversation about the future of the IBM engineering solutions and discussing why IBM and Persistent are a great team to help customers maximize their investments in ELM and ongoing success using the tools. Just as a recap for those of you who couldn't join us previously, we have discussed the new features and enhancements of IBM version 7, and then went on to discuss the Persistent Systems Readiness Assessment to help adopt IBM ELM version 7 quicker and experience the performance enhancements the new release contains. For those of you who couldn't join us previously, we have a slide later on with the links to the various sessions that you can rewatch. So this brings us to today's session, talking about what's next for IBM ELM and systems engineering. Before I hand over to Sky and Johnny to introduce themselves, just a few quick housekeeping announcements from me. All participants will be on mute throughout the webinar. We will be recording this session. If you do not agree, you may disconnect at any time. The recording will be posted onto the website to view at a later stage to rewatch or share with your colleagues. You can make the screen bigger using the buttons that appear when hovering your mouse on the left-hand side of the WebEx screen. Furthermore, you can also resize the window as required. Due to increased global demand on the WebEx platform, should you have any audio difficulties, please consider dialing in for the audio. Numbers can be found in the chat window or in the reminder email you were sent prior to this session starting. Please ping me or any of the team on the webinar if you have any difficulties. Okay, so Sky, if you wouldn't mind introducing yourself, followed by Johnny, I'll then start the discussion between us all.
Sure thing. Hopefully you can hear me all right. My name is Sky Matthews. I'm the CTO for the Engineering Lifecycle Management products in IBM and an IBM Distinguished Engineer. I have been working in the ELM space for over a decade now, and have a long background in sort of embedded systems and complex systems engineering, working with customers in automotive, aerospace, defense, electronics, medical devices, all kinds of different industries, which is one of the things I love best about the job, is helping customers build better products.
Great, thank you, Sky. Johnny?
Hi, everybody. Jiani Zhang. I'm the General Manager of the Industrial and Alliances Unit at Persistent. The industrial vertical, which includes things like aerospace and defense, automotive manufacturing, electronics, and such, are one of 3 main verticals that Persistent covers. Previous to this, I was also an IBMer. I worked specifically with Sky and team on the ELM portfolio, on the Watson IoT portfolio, and ran the industrial analytics and IoT platform while at IBM.
Great, thanks, Johnny. So, Sky, let's start with you in terms of the discussion. We all recognize that the market is evolving rapidly with new trends, opportunities, and even challenges that impact everyday aspects of engineering. Can you talk a bit about the key trends that you are seeing from your perspective in IBM and the impact that this is having on systems engineering?
Certainly. So one thing that we are certainly seeing is that in several of our industries, there is a really rich growth of software in the product development It's sort of been well known for a number of years, of course, that all of our are having more and more software embedded in them. But that drives a lot of challenges for teams that have been sort of traditionally more hardware centric. It also drives a lot of opportunity. So being able to handle that software complexity and move to a more software defined sort of product process is really critical in today's world, achieving the kind of success that we want our customers to achieve. So understanding, how software changes the development process, being able to sort of build a predictable software delivery process and take advantage of the fact that software is flexible and we can change software in a product over the life of that product. So being able to actually adopt more of a continuous integration, continuous delivery type process is really important for products these days to be able to sort of deliver on the customer expectations, which are sort of increasingly expecting those kinds of behaviors from their products. The other thing that we're seeing is really, partly coupled by this growth of software, but is enterprise scale. So a lot of our larger product development customers, are starting to see that, they can't have different teams working on different kinds of tools. They really get activity by getting teams working on tools that allow them to easily collaborate and to reuse software components and other artifacts across multiple projects. So that ability to have teams, working together on a common tool environment does require a tool environment that can handle that kind of scalability. So that's certainly another driver that we're seeing. A third one is the ability to reuse. So one of the key aspects of software is that if you approach it correctly, you can build reusable componentry and get much more productivity across multiple product lines that have some shared features. And that's something that we're seeing a very major trend towards, particularly in automotive, but in other industry segments as well. Toolset has a lot of built-in capabilities for managing reuse and managing multiple configurations and sort of variability across product lines, which our customers really love.
Great, thank you. Thanks for sharing. Jiani, can I bring you into the conversation and see if there's anything you'd like to add from a Persistent perspective, please?
Sure, yeah. I mean, as kind of Sky mentioned, the complexity of software and what often where we see customers struggling is the fact that you have to have various systems in your company in order to handle this type of complexity, whether it's software, whether it's hardware, the entire life cycle of developing a product that's just become so much more complex. And because of these different systems and platforms that you're using, there's a very strong need for integration. And our solutions and our tools fundamentally have to handle the workload, handle the integration, handle the complexity of going across various platforms to bring data in, to ensure the integrity of your code, to have to be able to handle the different sets of configurations or tests, and all that is true from as the complexity of the software grows, as the complexity of the product grows, and as you start to deal with more and more complex ecosystem that your entire development lifecycle is undergoing. So very challenging times, but very exciting times.
Indeed, indeed. So Sky, if I can switch back to you, I mean, we're typically hearing a lot about the explosion of data driving the need for artificial intelligence, or AI as it's better known, and even advanced analytics. Can you talk a bit about how this applies to the IBM engineering portfolio, please?
Sure. We all know that there's a huge interest in analytics and machine learning and other forms of artificial intelligence, and that sort of data is the key there. That the more data that we have, the more we have the ability to sort of mine patterns and understand how our systems are operating based on that data. And so, in the engineering space, there is a of data being generated throughout the engineering process. Everything from requirements through to the project plans to tests and so on. Being able to bring machine learning and AI will give us interesting insights into that project performance over time. And so you can see here on this slide, that there's obviously a tremendous amount of the behavior of project success or failure can actually be sort of uncovered and root causes identified through the use of data. But to do that, you have to have an infrastructure tool environment that allows you to collect that data and to prepare for identifying these kinds of trends and patterns. The other thing that we're seeing is, of course, interest in AI. What we have introduced in IBM and Persistent is a feature to sort of begin applying AI to the engineering process around requirements. Using natural language processing, we can actually identify the quality of written requirements. And requirements are a major contributor to the quality and the success of a project. So the earlier we can catch issues in requirements, the better off, the more successful that project is likely to be. So our requirements quality assistant is based on AI, natural language understanding, and able to help people improve quality of requirements and deliver more successful projects.
Great. Okay. I know it's something that's sort of quite new from IBM, alongside ELM version 7, right? It's the hot topic. I mean, can you give us a summary about what else is new and what particularly you're most excited about? I think with your background of the tools, it'd be really particularly great to hear about that.
Yes, in version 7, which we just launched last month, there's a number of really big new features and enhancements coming. One of the biggest areas that we're investing in is improving the user interface, introducing a number of enhancements and an overall refresh of the user experience. That's been a major theme for us and will continue to be over the next couple of releases. But version 7 really is the sort of first wave of that design, delivering an updated user experience and giving us sort of a look of what's to come there with future enhancements. Along with that, so there's another big area of improvement is around the sort of scalability and infrastructure, particularly behind our requirements tool, Doors Next. So we, as I talked about before, we're starting to see enterprises moving whole development teams onto the tools, and we have to have these tools scale to thousands and in some cases even tens of thousands of users. So we undertook a significant re-architecture in Doors Next to be able to increase the concurrency of users working on it and increase the number of artifacts that it can handle. So big improvement in performance and scalability of Doors Next. We also find that a lot of customers are starting to work together in value chains, OEMs and suppliers and on down the supply chain. And increasingly, they want to move that collaboration into a sort of richer, more digital working experience. And so a number of customers want to be able to share artifacts across their ELM tools. And we have introduced some improvements in Doors Next and in some of the other tools to better enable that supply chain integration. We also have, sorry?
Go ahead, sorry.
We also have a number of customer Doors Classic, and there's a lot of demand for being able to integrate Doors into the rest of the ELM solution, sort of at the same level of
user experience as people get with Doors Next, richer linking, richer workflow management, better integration into the reuse and configuration management feature in ELM. So that's another area that we've invested a lot in version 7. And in test management, there's a lot of progress around test management and adoption of digital commercial test management tools. One of the things that we see a lot is people doing manual testing, perhaps in outdoor or other environments that aren't immediately connected to the internet. They need to be able to do some of that testing offline. So we introduced improved offline testing to better meet needs. Around workflow management, we've seen a lot of adoption of Git and various versions of Git to do source code management. So we enabled a integration between Engineering Workflow Manager and Git, GitHub, GitLab, Gerrit, Bitbucket, etc., so that customers can continue to get the advantages of our workflow management capability, but use the sort of SCM of their choice. The scalable ad work has really sort of revolutionized how people are adopting Agile in the engineering workspace, and so we have a new version of SAFe 4.6 supported across our ELM solution. On the modeling front, we've introduced some enhancements on our system design tool set to enable higher levels of performance and usability, and introducing some productivity benefits for users at all different levels. So we see a lot of experienced system engineer levels users, new systems engineers, developers, and doing code generation. All aspects of the tool set have seen some refresh to improve the user experience. And then finally, reporting. So there's a lot of features in the engineering lifecycle management tools to do reporting, to pull out various, whether it's document-based, dashboard-based, or other sort of dynamic queries and reports. A lot of improvements in our document generation, document comparison, HTML generation, and the ability to sort of do drag and drop to really make it easy to build a report right out of the box. Those are some of the sort of key features that we've introduced in version 7. Again, a sort of major refresh for us, and we're really excited to get some feedback and get people trying it out.
Absolutely. I think with the customers I'm working with, it's certainly attracting a lot of interest, and yeah, I'm looking forward to working with it more myself. But clearly, I'm guessing innovation doesn't stop with the ELM version 7. Can you talk a bit about what's on the future roadmap in terms of the UI you talked about, and even functionality as well?
Always excited to talk about some of the future directions that we have going on in the lab right now. As I said, user interface refresh is certainly a multi-release effort for us. We'll continue to invest in that, moving beyond just sort of the look and feel on the glass, but introducing a lot of improvements in workflow, giving people greater productivity and seamless experience in the tool, and particularly across tools. So more and more we see people starting with one tool but adopting the whole tool set, and we want to make it look like a seamless experience across all the tools. Another area that is big for us is the infrastructure underneath, making it much easier to sort of dynamically scale up and scale down whole ELM tool set as needed based on the sort of user demand and types of workloads being run. And to enable that, IBM bought Red Hat last year, and Red Hat has been a leader in the Kubernetes sort of container management space. And so we're moving the whole engineering tool set into containers and using Kubernetes and Red Hat OpenShift to be able to sort of manage clusters of compute capability and dynamically be able to scale that up and scale that down react to hardware failures and shift workload around in that cluster. So that'll be, again, a sort of multi-release journey. We should start to see the first availability of some previews, at least later this year, and that's going to be really a big move for us to sort of improve the overall cost of running and cost of administering the ELM suite, and again make it much more scalable and dynamically reactive to the underlying infrastructure. The other big area that I'm really excited about that we continue to invest in is the adoption of AI in the engineering lifecycle, and so we'll see more application of both natural language understanding as we introduced in our QA, that to other parts of the tool set, like tests and work items, but also applying other forms of machine learning process. So that continues to be a major investment area for us, obviously a big thing for IBM overall. And again, sort of stay tuned. We will continue to roll out more AI-based features in the next number of releases.
Great. And Jiani, I appreciate you, from your background and obviously the current role, very familiar with IBM's ELM vision and direction. And I know you've been working a lot with customers who are embracing their own transformation roadmaps that incorporate this vision. Can you touch a bit about how Persistent can help with these customers on these transformation journeys and especially with ELM, please?
Yes, thank you, Carl. So I'm sure most people are aware on this call that Persistent is a very close partner with IBM in terms of the ELM portfolio. We are the development partner. We also are a service partner, and we also are a reseller as well. So this multifaceted relationship that PSL has with IBM, and specifically on the ELM portfolio, allows us to support our customers' needs, our joint customers' needs, in a variety of ways. Obviously, with the fact that we are the development arm, makes us very keen and very knowledgeable of the product set itself. And what that allows us to do is, help our customers really dig deep into custom deployments or specific troubles and difficulties that they have on things like migrations and upgrades, right? So understanding the complexity of the customer's current environment and helping them move and helping them transition to such an exciting release such as 7.0 is something that Persistent can directly offer value from. We've helped customers in terms of migration from DNG, from DORS to DNG, and in very specific problem situations, we can deploy SWAT teams of service personnel combined with the expertise and knowledge of the developers who build the product to help our customers manage that situation. Another area that we can focus on specifically, as I mentioned earlier, is this trend toward integration. And one thing that Sky covered that was really exciting about 7.0 is the fact that you get to use your own environments. And we see that more and more in our customer situations where like I said, the development ecosystem is changing. You have a lot more tools. You have a lot of systems, platforms that comes into play. So whether it is integrating things like Jira into your information in your development lifecycle, whether you're already using Jira, whether you're integrating things like Git or Bitbucket or GitLab and things like that around source code management, or even as complicated as integrating your existing PLM systems into your ELM systems in order to have more aligned and cohesive accelerated development. Persistent can assist you with a lot of those different aspects. I mentioned that, industrial and manufacturing, which includes, automotive, aerospace, electronics, and such, is a core focus of Persistent as an industry. It's one of our key vertical pillars. And within that means that we have quite a lot of domain expertise in the industrial space as well. So coming from a background where I used to look after industrial and analytics, at IBM, I was very excited to see a lot of skills that Persistent has, from data and AI to machine learning to custom analytics build-up and things like that that can help our customers drive a lot more value from their existing data, whether it's in development or in manufacturing or beyond. And then, of course, if you want the easy button, Persistent can do that for you too. From a managed service perspective, we do help quite a bit of our customers in deploying a managed service situation with ELM. So that definitely takes the work out of your hands and helps you get to productivity faster. So those are some of the ways that Persistent supports the IBM ELM portfolio.
Great, thank you. And just before I expand there, I'm just I note the time. So for those of you who may need to leave for other meetings, etc., we will be recording this so you can catch up at a later stage, and you'll receive that in due course. But thank you for joining if you do have to leave us. But Jiani, just picking up on what you said there, how we're working very closely with IBM and for specific customers. Can you give a few examples about how we've really worked together and maximized customer investments and overall success?
Sure. So we've worked with a bunch of IBM's customers, our customers as well. One of those examples is a global semiconductor manufacturer. And in their case, where they were working on, they were looking at ELM solution, they had installed an earlier version of the ELM solution in 2019, and they were having quite a lot of stability and response time issues. And so what we did was we, engaged, as I mentioned earlier, sort of a SWAT team style, where we have a very core, very knowledgeable set of folks that we deploy from Persistent, have deep knowledge on the product itself, was able to converse with the customer and engage in an engineering session on site with them, and allow them to understand the requirements that they were trying to change and how they wanted to go about that deployment. And using those deep knowledges, we can not only understand their context and their situation, set up some automation and customization for them, and really just combined efforts in terms of recovering that situation and allowing them to roll out at a much larger scale. So this is one of those examples where, IBM plus Persistent, 1 + 1, actually turned into 3, because it not only made the customers very comfortable with their existing deployment of ELM, but also that to see the vision and the direction of the next version and allowing them to scale. Same thing can be said for a very major global automotive manufacturer and supplier as well. Very similar situation where, a lot of very particular details around customization or features and functionality that the customer was looking for, we Persistent can really help in terms of exploring the various solutions, helping you understand your environment better, helping you understand the tools better, and allowing you to get more productivity out of the ELM solution.
Great. It's always good to hear how we're working with customers. So thank you for that. I just wanted to sort of ask you both a question, really. What you see as the future outlook for the engineering space, I guess both at a product roadmap level and more of a general level. What do you see as important for companies to consider?
This is Sky. I'll start on that. So as I mentioned a little bit earlier, I do see a lot of interest finally in the engineering segment around looking at cloud and starting to be interested in leveraging cloud, both for the ability to sort of dynamically scale up or scale down, but also the ability to offload some of the complexity of managing your own infrastructure. And also, a cloud environment lends itself well to multi-organization collaboration. So that sort of supply chain that I talked about earlier. So for all those reasons, we have customers in the engineering space who have traditionally been, let's say, nervous about moving such a key of their own data center or beyond the firewall. But they're starting to see the benefits and the reasons for moving to cloud. So we certainly want to enable that. At the same time, the customers want to be able to control. Maybe some of their projects are handled behind the firewall and some on cloud, or even an ability to mix. And so behind that, is the whole vision of IBM's hybrid cloud computing, so leveraging OpenShift and Kubernetes technology to be able to sort of manage deployments in any environment, whether that's on-premise, in existing data centers, or in various clouds, IBM's or others. And so for us is to sort of rework the product based on OpenShift and containers and allow customers to to sort of more easily move then their workloads around to be able to manage the ELM instances on-prem and on cloud, and even to be able to start to move more to cloud in a controlled way. And so I think that's a major direction for us, and also driven by the needs of the engineering community. And we'll start to see, based on that, new models of collaborating between organizations. So I think that's sort of overdue, frankly, because the supply chain's been there for years, but needs that kind of effort. But also very exciting. So we'll continue to sort of pace on that hybrid cloud deployment model. And then the other key topic that I also talked about already, but I really think is strategic for many engineering organizations, is the AI. Being able to extract data about how the engineering process is running, to be able to understand the sort of root causes and patterns, either of success or failure, and those and to adapt. And so, that's really the key driver for companies wanting a more consistent infrastructure that lends itself to capturing that data about the engineering process. So I think those are sort of two major strategic directions that we are undertaking in our portfolio that are driven by the sort of customer need and the trends in the engineering sector.
Okay, Jiani.
I was just going to say, I completely agree, Sky, and I think, from Persistent side, we definitely see a lot of movement on OpenShift across all software portfolios, and that goes beyond the engineering lifecycle management product as well. We see a lot of demand from our customers wanting that simplicity of infrastructure, of moving their current environments to cloud, and we've been helping all of IBM do a lot of that, whether it's application migration, whether it's modernization, deployments, cloud packs, and things like that have been a lot of requests that we've seen from a customer front in adopting OpenShift. And on the second note regarding AI and analytics, I think it's critical. I mean, fundamentally, the development lifecycle and to really capture the benefits of the knowledge you already have is in the data itself, and to be able to unlock that knowledge by using the power of analytics and AI, and ensuring better integrity of your requirements or better traceability is absolutely critical. And so I think the world is ready. I think we have solutions in place where we can really take advantage of analytics and AI to really help us do development and bring it to the next level.
Great, thank you both. Jiani, just a final question to you. I mean, we've heard more about how Persistent can supercharge engineering teams, if you like, of customers we're working with. What's next if customers or prospects want to learn more and how we can help them?
Yeah, absolutely. Persistent's here to help. Like I said, we can support you in a variety of different ways. We can have local teams be engaged directly with you to understand your specific issues and and challenges. We conduct workshops, I guess now remotely, but we after this whole COVID situation, we'd be happy to be on site, understand your problems, and help you get resolved as quickly as you can. We do deploy, sort of our experts to help you and understand not your current situation, help you with a variety of scenarios and solutions to explore on how you do the best that you can. So I think there's a slide that we have here on the contacts that you can reach out to. We'll share that with you, and we look forward to engaging.
Absolutely. I'll share that shortly, Jiani, just to conclude. But look, both, thank you very much for sharing your thoughts and insight there. Clearly a lot for customers and prospects of the IBM Engineering Lifecycle Management solution to be excited about, both now and with version 7 and beyond, into the future.
Thank you,
really
Carl.
appreciate your time.
Thanks, Carl.
Just to sort of conclude the webinar then, as you may have seen from the last session, you can find out more about IBM ELM version 7, our exciting case studies as well, using the tools, and even subscribe to our expert blog series. For example, the art to writing a good requirement, using the links on this page, and the slides and recording will be sent out, as I mentioned earlier. I just wanted to reflect with a comment of my own, really. I mean, building on from the previous webinar on our ELM version 7 readiness assessment, Persistent really are in a great place to help you maximize your success using the tools. As Jiani was saying, we're a development and expert partner in this space with IBM, and we're in a great position to help you experience the performance improvements, especially. So as Jiani said, please feel free to reach out to us to learn more, we'd be very excited to work with you. So as I said, all this information will be sent out to you to digest in your own time. We are now concluding the ELM version 7 topic within the Supercharging Engineering webinar series. However, next time we are starting the theme of integration, which I think, obviously it's been talked about a lot on the webinar today from both Jiani and Sky, and something, we'll be delighted to speak to you more about on April the 14th. So join us at the same time in your time zone, wherever you are, as we discuss how to address a common challenge we've seen around integration and how our Unite platform can help address this by bringing third-party tools into the JAZ platform, utilizing OSLC. So thank you once again for joining. As we now draw the call to a close, you'll be taken to the landing page where, if you haven't already, please register for the future sessions of interest. The last thing for me to say is take care, be safe, and look forward to welcoming you next time on Persistent Systems webinar. Thank you once again to Jiani and Sky. Thank you all for your extended time, we'll close the call there. Take care.